Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network. Ladies and gentlemen, the history of talk radio. Political opinions have been a staple of radio since the early 1920s. Talk radio as a listener participation format has existed since at least the mid-1940s. WMCA New York's Barry Gray was bored with playing music and put a telephone receiver up to his microphone to talk with band leader Woody Herman. This was soon followed by listener call-ins. In 1948, disc jockey Alan Courtney began a call-in program on WGBS Miami. The Alan Courtney Open Phone Forum was a conservative and anti-communist political forum with coverage area over the southeast United States and Cuba. In the 50s, Joe Pine, John Nebel, and Gene Shepard were among the first to explore the medium. In recent years, talk radio has gained popularity with many new formats flourishing, including all sports in 1986 with the birth of WFAN New York. The subject matter for these formats are different, but the structure has remained the same for all these years. You might say talk radio is a 20th century format, until now that is. It's 2014. And radio pioneer and innovator Alex Bennett introduces the Citizen Panel on GABNET, the first revolutionary idea in the format since its inception. The Citizen Panel allows for an open discussion to take place between the host and many listeners all at the same time. Listeners claim that it's addictive, producing stimulating discussions on any topic from politics to movies and entertainment. It's not liberal or conservative. It's open to all opinions and ideas. Log on to gabnet.net to listen and find out how you can participate. Listen to the programs on GABNET and take a step into 21st century talk radio.
Hi everybody, this is Alex Bennett, and I've had a long and interesting trip. It's called life. And for years, people have demanded that I write a book about it, and while I've been a writer, my main talent has always been that of a broadcaster. Over a year ago, I decided not to write the book, but using my best skill, I decided to tell it. It's called Life in the Passing Lane, and I described it as an audio biography. It's presented in 30-minute chapters, so it's easy to binge listen. And you can access it on the GABNET page by clicking on Life in the Passing Lane and going to a page with every single episode, plus some extras. If you want to access it on your mobile device, that's easy too. It's on iTunes. It's Life in the Passing Lane, an audio biography by me. I'm Alex Bennett.
Talk like you've never heard it before is now talk like you've never seen it before. Alex Bennett's Ramble is now in video. Log on to Alex's Facebook page at facebook.com/abennett every Tuesday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern and experience the Citizen Panel like never before. We put a face to people like Phil, Patrick, Renee, Kevin, Tony, Jeff, Bree, Brian, and all of our regulars. And Alex is there too in his PJs. Just be glad he isn't naked. You can be one of those people who gets seen and not just heard by calling into Skype. For more information on how to Skype us, just go to gabnet.net. You can dress any way you want, provided it's decent. GABNET is now not just talk and not just a pretty face. So why don't you add yours? Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey, hi everybody, it's Alex Bennett. It is the Ramble, and we go here for another week. Yes, we do. Well, let me turn that down. I was getting a little feedback there. Another week of hijinks and so on, and we go until midnight Eastern Daylight Time. You're not seeing me right now because the next about 25 minutes, is going to be a pre-recorded audio interview. And it was recorded today, but it was one of two that we did that I thought of running next week. But the thing I was talking about was something I should have run tonight. So, well, you'll hear what is going on as we talk to one of our oldest and dearest friends. Time once again to go out to the other coast of the United States of America, to San Francisco, California, wherein resides the, as I said last week, the rent-controlled Larry Bubbles Brown. Things are very expensive there, but not for you, Larry.
Not for me, although our friend Steve Pearl has just is leaving the area to move to Las Vegas because of the expense out here.
Is it cheaper in Vegas?
Oh, much cheaper, yeah. It's,
really?
I think he said there's a 2-bedroom apartment in a gated community there for $900 versus $2,000 and $3,000 out here for a dump. So.
Well, what was his apartment going to? Well, he wasn't even living in San Francisco.
He was in Walnut Creek, but I think he said the building got bought. I think he was paying like close to $2,000, but it was going to go up another $1,000 or something.
Yeah. So it's going to take. So it was going to thousands, you say?
Yeah, people buy a building and then you're screwed. So.
Oh boy, oh boy. So he's moving to Vegas. Well, yeah. What's he going to do there? Be a magician?
Well, he's got. There is work down there. There's not much work here anymore, so I think he's got a better chance of getting some stuff going there.
Yeah. You know, we didn't talk about it last week, and you wanted to talk about was me doing national radio.
Right. You were just on CBS.
No, it wasn't CBS. It was Westwood One, and we did it out of CBS.
The CBS building.
Out of the CBS building. Yeah.
Right.
Westwood One has studios there, and so I did the show for my friend Walter Sterling, who does the show out of his home in Cleveland. Actually, he does it out of his laundry room. And you say, how's that all possible, Alex? Yeah, I remember the day where when I went to work for a radio station, it was a physical property downtown, and I would drive there every morning. And there would be a control board, early. And there would be a, yeah, exactly. So but it's not like that anymore. So what happens is the station he does it out of, for some reason, is in, I think, Philadelphia, right? And WPHT or something like that. So down there is the board op and the phone screener. And in New York, they put me in this studio with a microphone. And then I got the engineer in my ear. Her name was Elena, and she was really good. She just did a terrific job and made it very easy for me. But nevertheless, it's like you're completely disjointed. You know, I'm used to going into a room. There's the engineer. There's the phone screener. I sit down. Boom, boom, boom. We have a good time together. Here, I can't see their reactions or see what they're doing. And, so it was a whole different kind of experience for me that I had never done before, and I thought it would turn out to be an absolute disaster. And it wasn't. It turned out to be actually, I thought, quite good. I thought I did a superb job. So, But then the depressing, okay, you and I always look at the cup half full, right?
Right.
So, I mean, a guy asked me to do his show, his national show. It's a Sunday night show called Sundays with Sterling. And I'm there to do the show. And it's wonderful. I'm having a great time. And the 3 hours is over with, and I go home and I'm depressed. Because I realize this may be the last time I'll ever see the inside of a radio station.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I had already done that, but now I have a chance. And it's kind of like I'm hungry, and you just showed me a steak but told me I can't eat it again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that kind of has depressed me. I've been going through postpartum depression. Now, hopefully, he may ask me to do it again.
And how long were you on?
I was on for 3 hours.
That's a long time to fill.
Well, you say that's a long time to fill, but at least 21 minutes of every hour commercials and news breaks.
And news, but still, and how many guests did you have?
I had Durst on, and I had my ex-wife on. So
that was it?
Yeah. The rest of the time I was, but you know, I haven't been on the air in 5 years. I had nothing but stuff to talk about, you know. So when nobody called, I had. Trouble is, when people called, I had to stop talking what I was talking about, and take the call.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it went really well. But, you know, again, it's like I was fed a beautiful dinner and then told you're never going to eat like that again. You know,
well, you'll be back.
Well, I hope he asked me back. The only problem is I may have done too good a job. You know, I don't know.
That's true. You don't want to do too. I remember when Johnny Carson used to go on vacation, he'd have the worst guest host. I hated that. And then, it was because he didn't want anyone to be better than him.
Well, yeah. You know, I mean, he told me he wasn't going to listen because he doesn't like to listen to replacements or whatever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, it was a good experience. I know to a lot of people this is playing. Maybe I should reverse the order in which I play these interviews. Yeah, I'll play this one tonight. Because it's talking about the situation. But it's very strange. It's very strange for me to see what radio has become. That, you know, that Walter does his show from his house in Cleveland, literally from his laundry room. In fact, he makes a joke about it. He says, from the laundry room, you know. But all you're dealing with, I mean, and this engineer / producer down in Philadelphia was just wonderful. I mean, she would count me down to the breaks, and she would tell me when my mic was hot again and things like that. I mean, she was just really, really good, and so it made it very easy for me. So I kind of felt like I was in the studio, but I'm still talking into this microphone, and I guess it was going out to the rest of the country. But then they go into these breaks. People don't know this. They go into these commercial breaks, and of course, to you out there listening to it, it's a commercial break. To me in the studio, it's this fill music that they have going to keep the audio going on the network. And it's the same fill music over and over. It's like waiting on hold, you know, at Apple or someplace like that, you know. So, but anyway, so other than that, I've been very depressed also because I bought this thing called a Mac Mini from a friend of mine who no longer wanted his, and I bought it for like $300 from him. And the other day, I plugged the thing in, and sparks come flying out of it. And then it's dead. Only the power light will go on, and the fan starts going. And so I'm taking it to Apple. If it's a Logic board, it could cost me $700 or something like that, which I'm not going to pay because I can buy a new one for a couple of $100 more, right? Or it just could be the power supply, and that the light goes on and the fan goes because they're independent of the power supply. But boy, I am telling you, you should have seen the sparks fly when I plugged it in.
Wow!
And I couldn't figure out why that was happening, you know. So I kind of gave up on that. That was ridiculous. So that was depressing me, and that happened the night before I was going to go in and do the show. So I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning trying to solve the problem, and then I went to sleep and woke up early. So now by the time I go down to do the show, I'm half exhausted because I didn't get enough sleep, and I'm worried that I won't be able to do the show, but I went and did the show okay. So,
you're a pro.
Because I'm a pro. Meanwhile, I'm on a fixed income, and I don't know how I'm going to replace that Mac. So,
well, they need to have you back on the air.
Well, that was part of what I talked about on the show. Why am I not working? Is it because I suck? Well, I don't think that's really a possibility. I think I'm okay at what I do. It's because of my age.
Yeah,
purely
the one
my age.
discrimination that's accepted.
Yeah, I mean, and I talked about it, that when I left Sirius XM, they were going to give me severance, a 16-week severance. I worked for them 9.5 years, and all I got was a lousy 16-week severance. I don't know how they figure that one out. Anyway, they said, okay, here, we want you to sign this release before we give you the severance. And I went, what? They said, yeah, release. I said, what is it for? So that you won't sue us for age discrimination.
Really?
I said, you do realize that having me sign this piece of paper is in and of itself age discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
And
they just admitted it.
She kind of went, yeah, I guess, because they wouldn't have asked a 35-year-old to sign that.
No.
They just give you the severance, and or you might sign something saying you won't sue them for wrongful termination. Just because you sign things like that doesn't mean, by the way, that you can't.
Right.
So I said, okay, I'll sign it because I could sue you anyway. So but that immediately made me realize that part of the reason they fired me was my age.
Yeah.
And also that I was making more money than somebody who they could get to replace me. And the reason I was making more money than a lot of other people on the floor was because I've been in the business so long that I deserve more money. And companies like to get rid of all their older people because they want more money and they can get somebody for less. So basically for the first hour, I talked about aging and about the problems with aging. The worst part, I brought this up to one person who called. I should have mentioned it in the monologue that I did, but you become invisible to people. Like if you're old and you're on a subway, you're invisible to the rest of the people on the subway. I mean, if you're 25 and you're a hot-looking chick, you're not invisible.
No.
But do you feel you become invisible?
Yeah, it's just like invisible is a perfect word. They don't dislike you. They don't like you. They don't see you.
They don't exactly. They don't pay attention to you.
Right.
And it's as though you just don't exist. And so that's not fun. That's not wonderful. I don't like that.
Nope.
So that happens, and there are a lot of other things that happen as you get older. But that's what we dealt with on the first hour of the show. And I said that at the end of the show I would reveal my age, which would be a career killer, and that I was going to do something nobody else would do because my point was, number one, do you know how old? Oh, I don't know. Do a lot of movie stars say how old they are? The only time you find out how old they are is if one of those entertainment shows says, oh, today is Scarlett Johansson's 34th birthday. But you don't know if that's her 34th birthday. That's what she says she is.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think she's maybe 34, but that's what she says she is. And that people lie about their age in show business all the time because they know that if all of a sudden I tell you on the air how old I am, you're then going to filter all your opinions of me, not through what I'm saying on the air, but through my age.
Right.
And so most people would not. So at the end of the show, I told them I was 78. I said, I got nothing to hide. I'm really 84, folks, but I lie about my age. Do you lie about your age ever?
Yeah. I used to say I was older than I was.
Oh,
he looks great for.
Well, somebody I had one woman I knew who said she always told people she was older than she was, so that they would then say, "Boy, you look great for your age."
Yeah.
But now, do you lie about it at all?
No, there's no point at this point. I think people can look shit up on the internet, and there's no privacy. So
yeah. But would you have, would you, if you met a woman, if you were going online to one of these dating sites, have you ever done a dating site?
I never did one, but I used to go on them all the time just to look at people.
Yeah. Okay, so you go on to the website, and you do you do dating. When did you say you ever used them? Actually used them?
Never used them.
Oh, you just looked at them. Everybody lies about their age.
That's what the younger comics. That's quite true. They all lie about their age.
Now, my wife lied by 5 years, and I lied by 5 years. But then after we started seeing each other, I said, I got to tell you something. I'm not really that. I'm this, right? But she stuck to her guns about her lie.
Really?
So much so that she would pay full ticket for a movie rather than get a senior. That's how committed That's how committed she was to the lie.
She was committed. It cost her money. She was committed.
I was thinking of getting a divorce because she married me under false pretenses. She told me she was 5 years younger than she was. And I told the story on the radio program about the birthday party they held for her 65th birthday. And I thought it was just another birthday. I didn't know it was the 65th. And I went to it, and everybody's up toasting her. And this is, Marjorie, and you made it this far, Marjorie. And I'm oblivious to it. Nobody's told me it's a 65th birthday party. Mm-hmm. So I then have to go. I don't know why I had to leave early because I had to work the next day. I think that was it. And so I left early. And then about a couple of weeks later, I'm at my friend Steve's, and he says, boy, that was a great 65th birthday party for Marjorie. And I went, what? He said, 65th birthday. I said, it was her 65th birthday? He says, what do you think that birthday party was for? I said, I thought it was just you liked her and you were holding a birthday party. And now I'm thinking, and I know people are thinking less of me because I never got up and made a speech, congratulating her on her 65th birthday. And so I immediately call her up and go, how old are you? And she said, I'm 65. I said, you lying sack of shit. You made me look like an absolute asshole, believing that you were 65. You were like 60, okay, or whatever lie you were perpetrating at the time.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it wasn't hilarious for me.
Not at that time.
But as I say, so committed to the lie that like at 62 you can get senior tickets now or something. I think that's the age for a senior ticket at a movie. She would always buy a full adult.
Wow.
So she was so committed to the lie, and she paid for the tickets for our movies. But I've just never lied about my age. And
you're the most open person I know.
The only time I really was embarrassed by it was when I was 62 and I was able to buy a ticket, for a senior ticket. And I'm going to take advantage of that. Hell, I don't mind. Cheaper movie tickets, terrific. All right. I don't know why it's cheaper. I'm still taking up the same amount of seat room as a full-fledged adult. But I take the senior. But now I'm going out with a woman who is like she's in her 40s, but she's going to some college, right? So I go up there and I say, okay, I want one senior, and she'll have, she says, student
discount.
Now there I was really embarrassed because I'm with somebody who's getting in on a student discount, which is essentially the same as the senior discount. And, under normal conditions, if you couldn't see that she wasn't like, a kid. But that was one time that I felt resentful in saying how old I was. But I've always been willing to take anything. Hey, you want to give me Medicare? I'm taking it. You want to give me a cheaper supplemental on my insurance? I'm taking it. You want to give me a free this or a free that because I'm an old fart? I'm taking it. But I mean, we still pay $42 for the two of us to go to a movie theater now, and we're getting the senior ticket.
Wow.
Well, we go to the comfy chair theater, where they have these lounge chairs, and they charge, I think, $4 more a ticket for that. And then we go to a 3D movie, and they charge $4 more for that. So that's where the 42 comes from. Otherwise, it might be a little cheaper. So.
I'm out of the loop. I had no idea.
Yeah, but at least I can buy a senior ticket for her now because she's not lying any longer.
She's not lying.
Oh, boy. So you've been doing any great jobs? You couldn't be on with me on Sunday night because you...
No, I had some one-nighter down in Sunnyvale, so that was it. Yeah, I just been working the first 6 or 7 months for the business I've been in years, and now it looks like it's all going back to the normal. So,
so you were really busy. You made some bucks this year.
I made some bucks,
Yeah.
Mostly because some guy had me open for him. It gets a lot of really good gigs.
Is that Dana?
No, Dana's working more getting his kids into the business. He's not doing that much now, but Felipe Esparza, who won Last Comic Standing a few years ago, he's getting a huge following, and he's going all over the country and selling out 2,000 and 3,000 seat rooms, so he's had me open for him, and those are really fun.
Well, that's very nice, but does he get a Spanish audience?
It's getting it. When I first started working 4 years ago, it was almost all Spanish, so I think they thought I was an ICE agent. They didn't particularly like me. Yeah, they didn't particularly like me, but now it's getting a little more of a crossover now.
Oh, boy. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's interesting. Because I would think that, opening up for basically is he Mexican?
Yeah.
A Mexican act. A lot of Mexicans would come to see him, which I'm sure is the truth, but then all of a sudden they've got the whitest man alive, Larry Bubbles Brown, or as they know you, Senor Bubbles.
The gringo.
You ought to find out how to say bubbles in Spanish.
I should, yeah.
El FOMO.
El FOMO. I like it.
Yeah.
That should be my new name, El FOMO.
I have to look it up. I'll look it up next time and see what bubbles
is. Look it up.
Yeah,
email me that. I'd love that.
Yeah. So this guy gets big audiences, huh?
2,000 and 3,000 seats, yeah, selling out everywhere.
So who were you working with on Sunday? Who were you?
Just a couple of locals down there.
I see. It was a local deal. I see.
You know that, and that's Sunnyvale. It used to be the country store. Now it's Rooster Teeth Feathers, and the claim to fame is it had another name in the 70s, but it was the installation of the first Pong machine was tried out there.
Well, because it's Silicon Valley.
Yeah, right down there. It's literally 2 miles from Apple.
Boy, when you think about Pong and the people who were addicted to Pong, and it was the silliest, stupidest game ever invented. It was
black and white.
Yeah.
I remember they had one backstage of this club up in Sacramento. It had it was just basically ping pong, right?
Basically, yeah. And the guy who started that then sold Atari and started what's that thing with the bear? Uncle, what is it? I'm trying to think of it now. The kids' place. It's a place where you go and you get food for kids.
At Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese. That was it. Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater. And I remember when it first started, I'm working at KMEL, and I looked down in the parking lot, and there's this guy in a giant, what appears to be, mouse suit. and I go, that's what is that? And the next thing I know, they got this giant mouse coming into the studio. And they said, this is for Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater. Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater, and blah, 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 and they do the whole plug and everything. I go, oh, that's very nice. I said, why is the guy dressed as a mouse? He says, no, that's not a mouse. That's Chuck E. Cheese. He's a rat. I said, you've got a rat as a mascot for a kid's restaurant? I said, that's not going to play well. Well, it played well enough. They made money for several years, but Chuck E. Cheese is a rat. Okay, so hey, I ran out of time here. Wow.
We can pick it up. It's good. We'll pick it up next time.
We'll pick it up the next time. Ladies and gentlemen, he's fun. He's a laugh riot, and he's my good friend Larry Bubbles Brown. Thanks, Bubs.
Thanks, my good friend Alex.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Okay, so I love Bubs. Okay, that's all right. Okay, I love Bubs. I think Bubs is just one of the funniest people I know, and he makes me laugh really hard when he says stuff funny. And let me get my phones just right here, because I want this to go out in stereo. I don't know. I'm getting tired of using these earphones. I wish my Bluetooth earphones would work, but they don't because there's a delay on the Bluetooth, so I never can quite get them going. Where are we? Let me open up the Skype lines, the Skypey lines, which is pretty simple for me to do. I just click a button here, I go online, and then our Skype buttons or our Skype lines are open, which means that you can talk to me using Skype. If you don't know how to do that, it's very simple. Go over to gabnet.net, and on the right-hand side of the page is a whole tutorial how to call using Skype. Okay, so do it. Do it now so you don't forget. That's what they always say on television, right? Do it now so you don't forget. This offer is a limited offer. Call now so you don't forget. Well, give me a call on the GabNet Skype line. Call now so you don't forget. Otherwise, the host, could die at any moment, and this may be your last chance to talk to him. Okay? Anyway, I'm sitting here waiting for the first people to call. This is why I don't start talking about anything, because I feel compelled when people to call to answer. Like I was doing the show the other night, and people start calling, and I'm in the middle of something I'm saying, and I see somebody's waiting online, and I go, hey, I got to take the call, So anyway, don't let them get away. When I was a kid, I worked at a station called KTIM in San Rafael, and they did a Man on the Street broadcast. And I learned that when you did the Man on the Street broadcast, the best way to get people to talk to you was to take the microphone cord and wrap it around their feet as they were walking by. And I've been doing that ever since now with people who call me. I just kind of wrap, Oh, look who's on a treadmill to oblivion.
No, I'm in Costco.
Oh, you're in Costco. Oh.
I thought he was working out too. No, Costco, man.
You're at Costco?
I'm at Costco.
Yeah. Now I know what you're going to do. You're going to go by the pens, and you're going to say, "Do you need these, Alex?" Right?
Yeah. I'm almost there.
Yeah.
I was planning on that. Yes.
Let's see. That's all the cheeses and stuff there, right?
Yeah.
Yours looks a little better than mine. They're all different. They don't all have the same things. And now you're coming up on what is that part that you're coming up on? That's the meat department, right?
Yeah. Now we're gonna have the fish over here. Maybe I'll get some salmon.
Yeah, this is what has made this program so incredible. Is just stuff like this. This is riveting. Let's take a trip through Costco. How much? Okay, now you go over there a second. I want you to see something. How much? Look at a price on one of those things for prime beef. How much is the price?
Okay, this is beef ribeye steak.
$42.
$43 for 2.26 pounds.
Wow, that's the prime though, right? I think you got slightly better prices where you are. Where are you in?
This is Mountain View, California.
Yeah. Let's look at some more of the meat prices there. Well, that's hamburger. It doesn't. That's a kosher hamburger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried the kosher hamburger? It just doesn't taste like hamburger. It tastes like It tastes like old Jews.
It does. It's all musty. Let's see.
There you go.
Here's your beef ribeye.
Okay,
that's about. Where's the? They used to have filet mignon.
Okay, wait a minute. There's a flank.
Yeah.
How much is the flank?
It's $8.99 a pound.
Yeah, which is how much for that one you're showing us right now?
That's $32.09.
See how much the prices are on meat now? They've just gone. I don't buy meat
anymore.
There's
4 or 5 steaks in there.
No, there are only usually two flank steaks.
Let's see. That's 3.57 pounds for $32.
Yeah.
It used to be way cheaper in Costco. What happened?
I know. I spent $33 this week, but I got the beef loin, but I got steaks that were 2 inches thick, and I cooked it tonight. And I think I should have started cooking it about 3 o'clock this afternoon on the grill and come back. I never could quite get it cooked, and then it was gristly on top of it. That's the other problem with Costco meat. You never know. Some weeks it's great, and other weeks it's just horrible. But,
so should I get one of these wild salmons?
Well, the salmon at Costco is very good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one.
Well, you can get one of those, or you can go down. I'll tell you what's good. If you go down, they have salmon and maybe you don't have it there, but pesto balls. And
yes, we have bought that.
Yeah, go back. Get rid of that. Get rid of that salmon.
Let me see if they have it though.
Yeah,
it looks like they don't have it today. Oh, here it is. Wait a minute.
The salmon with pesto.
They don't have it today.
The salmon with pesto is usually down with the salads.
Oh, okay.
At least it is in mine.
Well, here it's usually here in the same spot.
Yeah. God, I feel
but it's not here.
I feel like I'm doing something I do every week. Go to Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an outing.
Yeah.
I think I saw a video with you and Marjorie in Costco or something.
Yeah.
Arguing about the Depends.
Well, she does her little Depends routine. Yells out at the top of her lungs, "Hey, Alex, do you need your Depends? If you run out?"
Oh. Yeah. Well, I better do that before my battery runs out.
Yeah, I guess.
So because we wouldn't want you to miss out on that.
Yeah. So anyway, it was it's nice being at Costco. Just my regular life. This week I had to return a monitor that blew on me. I had a whole bunch of equipment blow on me at the same time because it was all hooked together when I got this. I don't know.
After it blew you, did you come?
No. And
jeez.
I had the Mac Mini that he gave me blew, so I got to take it down to Apple tomorrow and see if I can get it repaired. If I can, I got another place to go to that does it cheap. And then,
are you covered by your homeowner's insurance?
No, we're not.
No, when you have a socket that
they don't cover electronics
at all.
I have to do that special. I have to have a. I can't. I told Marjorie, don't count me in on paying for it next year for the home renter's insurance, because the only stuff that I have that I really would like to insure is electronic equipment.
Then you have to schedule it.
Yeah, then you have to schedule it. And then they charge you more for your insurance, of course, when you schedule it.
Yeah, depending on the value of what you schedule.
And, I didn't stop to think about scheduling that. It never occurred to me. I never had a piece of equipment blow on me like that. I plugged it into the wall and sparks flew. And
wow.
Then it went out.
Was it the socket?
It might have been the socket. It could have been anything. But I'm hoping that what blew was like a fuse inside the machine. The LED still lights up and the fan still goes on, but nothing else. And I'm thinking that they may be on a slightly different circuit, that they're directly wired into the. So I don't know. We'll see. And if that.
That machine was 2015. I had Apple Care.
Yeah.
And it was good for 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So 15, 16, 17, 18. I think it might be 5-6 months out of.
Oh,
perfect.
Fuck.
That's good engineering right there.
Huh?
That's great engineering right there.
Yeah. But anyway,
now you got to buy another one.
I never had this.
Well-
I never had this. Well, I'm going to wait till they're coming out with the new Mini Max in October. So I'm going to wait till they do that. You know, and I may put out for one because I want something as a backup for my regular Mac in case it goes out. And these things are perfectly acceptable to run as a, you know. So anyway. Well, but where was I? Oh, yeah, we're at Costco. Are we near the Depends? Are you getting near the Depends?
They keep moving them.
Oh, really? So I'm surprised you know.
Well, because I've always. What's that noise?
No, that's Kevin. He's
mic check.
He's
Kevin,
tapping
mic
his
check.
microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always thinking of my future, planning ahead.
Yeah.
So I always got to make sure I know where the Depends are.
I think the Depends are right there somewhere. It looks like.
Well, these are the baby ones.
Yeah.
These are the ones for. I think in this Costco they put them over by the drugs. So you can get your Depends and your Metamucil all at one time.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. No, these are just for kids here.
Well, let me see. Here comes Jeff Stein. Okay.
I was gonna say I got a 15-pound brisket there a couple weeks ago for $54. That wasn't bad.
Well, it's still.
We don't have brisket.
You know, it's still too expensive. You know.
Yeah, it was a more expensive brisket. You can get them cheaper at what do you call it? Smart and Final.
Well, you know what I found?
Yeah, but they still have the human. Smart and Final, they still got the human remains in the brisket.
Yeah, that's tasty though. It gives it more flavor.
Yeah, but the
Jeffrey Dahmer version.
Yeah, just watch the fingernails.
Yeah, it get in your teeth.
Yeah, the brisket. What did I do? Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
The nuts are a really good deal, though.
The nuts.
You like nuts?
Yeah, nuts are good.
Yeah.
How much? Well, wait a minute. You got the cashews there? Big thing. Of
Let's
cashews?
see. These are your honey cashews and salt.
But
keep going when you see those
over to the
macadamia
right.
nut clusters. Though, just keep going.
Oh yeah, no, I passed those. I used to buy them, but I'm
dangerous, man.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
if you went down further,
an art.
you had the regular cashews. Oh, I get those. Yeah.
Yeah, the Kirkland brand stuff is a good deal. It's way cheaper.
And it's usually made by the people who make the stuff that has a name.
The stuff that's more expensive next to it.
Yeah.
How can an almond be any different?
Now there is I think that's the cashews, right? You just yeah. How much of those? Yeah. How much of those were you on?
$20.79.
That's more expensive than my cashews.
They've gone up.
I just read that cashews are not a nut; they're a bean.
Okay, folks. Well, if nothing more, folks, you got something out of
fruit.
I
think they're a bean.
Fruit.
By the way, if you just joined us, our friend Ray is going. He's going through Costco. What do you show us? What you've got in your basket so far?
Okay, He's
got samples from
nuts.
Yeah.
We have a box of croissants that my wife wanted.
Yeah.
Because she's French. We have some salmon.
Yeah.
We have some pita chips. We have. Oh, this is the deal. A bag of avocados.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Those are good.
Yeah.
They're like $5, and you get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 avocados. And
I might add,
$5.
low in carbs. They're very good for you.
High in yumminess.
Good fat.
Yeah. Good.
Mandarin, oranges, almonds, and berries.
Yeah.
Tomatoes. That's it so far, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what I do? What I do is I have we have what do you call it? Alexa. And so anytime she wants something, we want to remember to pick something up. We simply say, Alexa, put almonds on our shopping list. And then when I get to Costco, I go to my Alexa app on my phone, and I've got all the things that she wanted for the week. And
I know. I should do that, and I don't do it.
But then I do it, and I get apoplectic because all of a sudden she's put everything on there that's heavy. Box of soda. Yeah. I need some giant all. Because like the soap there, you get a hernia just lifting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You remember the days when you bought soap and it had a towel in it?
Yeah.
Or that was a hell of a long time ago.
I think there were dishes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no!
I wonder if there was any soap in there. You should have just bought the towel.
Yeah. But it's Costco's. I think the trouble is though. How many people in your family, Ray? You, your wife.
4.
So when you shop at Costco, it's reasonable because you're shopping for 4 people. But we've only got 2 people here, so if we buy steaks and there are 4 there, and then we never get to the 4th one, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so really, it's for people who have families and stuff like that. In our case, we waste a lot of money, throw away a lot of food.
I use a seal-a-meal, and with the seal-a-meal thing, it keeps the steak fresh. No air gets into it for weeks. And it's just like you took months. It's like you just took it out of the package. You don't even have to freeze it.
Thanks for the free ad and phone now, so you don't forget.
Right.
Yeah.
I call them suck and seal.
Yeah, well, you're sitting here, you've been complaining for 5 years that you buy at Costco and your shit goes bad. Well, get a seal-a-meal and you won't have that problem.
You know what goes bad really fast that I've been upset by? I buy some strawberries. I take them home. They're fresh. 2 days later, they're not fresh anymore.
The seal-a-meal comes with a plastic canister and a little hose that you plug in. You can put the strawberries in there.
Well, yeah, but I don't think they would last. I don't know. There's something. I think
they last.
No, I think they sell them just as they're ripening. You know, and then
you partially freeze them and then you suck and seal them.
Really?
Okay, this is for Alex, just so he.
I got some from last year still.
Oh, we don't have that kind. I have
look
to
at her. That's a sexy Depends lady.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
look at this guy, man.
You know, it's funny.
What's going on?
My Depends don't look like that.
Neither does your package.
Actually,
wait. Yeah. That's Depend. So that's not, those aren't Depends. Those are underwear. I guess probably the same company. Where's the damn Depends?
No, but wait a minute. But those are for, like, here's the thing. I shouldn't tell the story, but a couple of several months ago, for some reason I can't remember what precipitated it, but all of a sudden Marjorie started leaking.
Ugh.
And so we had to buy the Depends for her or something like it. It was some woman's version of it. And I kept saying, see all that joking about me and who has to wear them first? But I'm here to announce. Let me just.
He went past the
wait a
always.
minute. Hold on a second. Let me just announce.
Oh yeah,
this,
always. Yeah.
Because I want to be able to live with her when she gets home. She doesn't need them any longer. It was just a temporary thing that was happening.
Could have been an infection or something.
You're dust now, Alex. Don't forget about it. You're dust.
Yeah. Well.
But I've gone from the full-fledged Depends to the always pads. Now they're for women, but they work. And
you use those?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to use them. That's for women. I'm going to call the Me Too movement.
Me Too, right? After the prostatectomy, there's some leakage, and it's getting much better. It's not anywhere near what it used to be, but
let's see. I got to figure this shit out, so to speak.
Oh, gee, look what I just found in my pocket. Wait a minute. Let me turn the camera on.
Let's see.
So that the audience can see it as well. Look at that. Look at that.
Nice.
Parking pass?
No. It's my. I said, do I have to put it on me? And they said,
really.
No, you don't have to put it on. You just keep it with you in case we need it. So, there's my.
Thanks for showing that.
So you got your one pass in then, huh?
Huh?
You know. Yeah. I listened to your friend's show on Sunday, and there was a guy on there. Remarkably, sounded like your friend sounds just like you, but he's not as good.
Oh, I see.
I got to compliment you. I didn't get to hear the show live, but I listened to the replay, and you sounded great, Alex. You sounded excellent.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Like you didn't skip a beat.
No.
Yeah. No, you were great, and it was you were really in the zone, and you sounded like you were on cloud 9.
Yeah, you sounded like you were having a damn good time.
Well, I was.
You didn't sound any different to me than you did 30 years ago.
Exactly.
Actually, you were better.
Honestly. Yeah, I think you were better, too. Yeah.
It could be. I mean, with age comes great responsibility.
And I'm not going to call you that you sounded like the P word.
Yeah, and the when you had the breaks and you had to get on and off the phone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You had perfect timing. You know,
Smooth
Yeah, it was like you just
everything
stopped
went
doing it
smooth.
yesterday.
I have
Yeah, it was
to.
like you hadn't-
Well, I have to tell you a little something. I had a woman by the name of Elena, who is the board operator down there. I don't use her last name because then everybody will suddenly ask questions. But her last name, her name is Elena Karmazin, and her third cousin, one of the biggest people in radio, Mel Karmazin. But anyway, she works there, and she's the board person, and she led me through everything. I mean, when we come back from a break, she'd say, "Okay, we got about 10 seconds. I'm opening your mic now," so I knew the mic was live. You know, she would then going into those what we call hard breaks, which were on the half hours. She would start playing the music, and then she'd say 10 seconds. And then I would start wrapping it up, and I took it just right. She said, "Okay, finish it up now." You know, so I mean, she was perfect, and that's why I sounded so good. It's all because of Elena.
Yeah, it sounded great.
So,
Yeah, but you're so good. You were really good at at the hard breaks and stopping people in a way that was smooth. And I mean, that's not easy to do for everybody.
yeah.
It was like you just stopped doing it yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no difference.
Well, there were
You were just like a total pro.
well, no,
I didn't
was-
say it.
was-
I didn't say it.
I was. Well, you've been
Leave
doing
it
this
to
for
Phil.
a long time, you know. And you're seasoned.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that isn't it as much as that doing this is different than doing that is different than doing this, okay? In that, it's just a whole different set of things. To begin with, one of the hardest parts for me was we go to a commercial break, and all those commercial breaks were 5 minutes long.
Wow.
All right. And when I went in one of the commercial breaks, actually, we went to the weather first, then into the commercial break, and there was about 8 minutes there with me not being on. And so to keep your, what can we call it? Keep your the thing going in your
feed
mind.
open.
So when you come
Rhythm.
back, you have it just sounds like you left off, right?
Well, I heard
Is
that
it-
when
is
they
it-
had me on hold
Yeah.
for when I called in,
Yeah.
and I could hear the show, and then I could hear that music when they went to commercial.
Well, when they went to commercial, the local commercials, they play this music.
Some of the local commercials I heard,
Yeah.
but many times I heard that music, and I heard some dead air for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Dead air.
Yeah. The music you hear is they send music down the line when they go to a break for the station, so they just know there's something there, and I told her, I said, "Who picked this music?" She said, "Walter did." I said, "Tell him he's got to change it. This is like being on hold, with Microsoft or somebody like that who just keeps playing the same song over and over and over again."
It was horrible.
Well, yeah, nobody hears that. That doesn't even get on the air. But
Yeah. No, the only reason Ray and I heard it is because we called in.
But
Yeah.
I mean, the hard part was I haven't been in a studio in 5 years.
It was a nice studio. You showed me pictures.
I called you on Facebook. Yeah.
FaceTime.
Yeah, it was FaceTime. No, it wasn't a nice studio, but it wasn't a bad studio. He told me it was dingy.
He told you it was a closet.
Yeah.
It was a real studio.
No, it was a real studio. Yeah, in fact, there were 3 microphones in there if I wanted to have guests in the studio with me. But the only disconcerting thing is your producer engineer is in Philadelphia, and so's your phone screener. And I had a screen there that was telling me who was on the various lines.
Yeah.
That comes down off the internet. Luckily, I took my iPad with me because he didn't tell me to take my iPad with me. So I'm glad I did because I had it there. But I could have seen it on my phone, whatever. So
Could you have Skyped with your phone screener so that you could have a more personal kind of connection?
I don't think they're set up for that.
Well, they could have done it on their phone or something.
No, but there's no need to. Why do I need to see them?
Well, this way you can see them, and it might give you that personal experience you're looking for.
Well, yeah, but you know something? The first minute that I was there, you might turn your mic off there, Ray, when you're not on because people talking behind you and everything. when I first got there, I sat down at the table, and all of a sudden I hear through the earphones. I haven't got the earphones on, but I hear coming through the earphones somebody going, "Hello, Alex, are you there?" And I pick up the earphones, put them on my head, and it's Elena. And it's like she's in the control room next to me. I mean, that's how clear the sound was. Wow. So I knew at that precise moment that this was going to go okay. You know, this wasn't going to be difficult. And, you know.
When I answered phones for you at Camel, there was a small studio between us, but I was in a studio. Mm-hmm. You were in the front one where the big windows were, but there was a smaller studio in between.
Yeah.
And I could see you, but I didn't like talking on that on the monitor thing. I used to just signal you what line to pick up.
This was I think it's an ISDN line they used,
mm-hmm.
and it was just clear as a bell. You know, I mean, just like she was right there. I mean, it was wonderful, and it all, you know, it couldn't have gone nicer. It was a nice experience for me, and I dreaded every moment of it. You know,
I know you did.
I thought that this was going to be just a clusterfuck, and it wasn't. You know, the only thing that I hate about it is the postpartum depression that I've been facing. And that is, there I was for 3 hours doing what I love best, which is radio, terrestrial radio, and not only terrestrial radio, but national terrestrial radio over about 52, 53 stations. And after it was over, hey, you know, when's the next time that's going to happen?
Hey, when you called me after the show and you sounded like you were walking on a cloud. You were so high. And so happy. It was great seeing that.
Yeah.
And you know, hopefully you just remember that feeling and bring it back to yourself. And anytime you want to go back to that place, rather than being depressed.
I never in the last 5 years haven't said, "Gee, I wish I have a terrestrial radio show," but I forgot how much I love doing it. You know, and so to have me do that the other day. And then not do it next week or the week afterwards or whatever. It's kind of like feeding a poor person a steak and saying that's all you're ever going to get, you know. I don't know. That isn't the last time I'll ever be in a radio studio, you know. I mean, Walter might ask me back, you know, unless I did too well, you know.
You might find when they need a fill-in, there'll be somebody around there that will have you fill in for other shows and other people.
I have no idea. I don't think it's going to amount to anything, you know. And
you could do a follow-up call, Alex. You know, like call them and just say, "Hey, I really enjoyed doing your show. My friends, you know, said it was great to hear you again."
You don't know what you're talking about, John. This happens to be a guy who's a friend of mine.
This guy has gotten him more jobs than this.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, all right.
Hasn't he gotten you positions at other stations? Didn't he get you Camel?
No.
Who got you Camel?
That was a guy by the name of Larry Yurden.
Oh, it was a consultant though, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
He knew where the bodies were buried. That was his claim to fame. No, this guy.
Ray said it for the checkout. Let's see his card. I want to everybody guess, see how much he's got in his card.
$170.
Okay, let's see.
I think he's got.
Let's see your card.
$265.
Wait, let's see your cart there, Ray. Ray, let me see your cart.
Okay.
What's he got in there? I'm saying that's 100 and 150. Well,
how much meat you got?
How much meat in there?
No, just some salmon.
Okay.
One salmon.
Okay,
sorry.
I'm saying.
I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting in trouble. I'm too slow.
Sorry. Are you going to get the Costco hot dog?
Hell no.
Oh, because if you got the Costco hot dog, I'd say 165.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's Stu Leonard's.
Say he's going to hit 200.
At Stu Leonard's up here, up north here. If you spend $100, they give you a free ice cream cone.
Brian, what are you dangling around there, man? That's some kind of weird thing.
Yeah, just a pencil. That's a habit I've had since I was in the 2nd grade.
Yeah, he likes pencils.
Yeah, you got a lot of produce there. You're probably not at 200.
I'd say he's at 150 to 175.
I agree.
You can't have a range like that. I was 165. How can you know? How can you go to 170, 150 to 175, then you steal my 165? You got to pick a number. This is
I'll go 180.
I'm going 163.50.
There's all of it. There's all of it right there.
What is it?
173.
Okay, there's
all of it.
I'm saying I'm lowering my estimate.
And then the Pellegrino in the cart.
I'm saying 145.
What do you think this is? The price is right?
I'm dropping down.
No, why not? No, I'll go with the $180.
Yeah,
Okay.
165.
Okay.
173.40.
135.
This is a great game to play, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that show Supermarket Sweep years
Supermarket Sweep, yeah.
Gotta love those Gap bucks that we'll be winning if one of us wins.
It's amazing, you know, if there's a long line waiting to get out at Costco, how fast you get out. That line just moves.
They're amazing.
Fishing.
Except the person in front of me always has a coupon that isn't quite right.
Oh, that's me.
And you got to get the manager, you know.
I was telling you, this monitor blew on me, so I took it back to Costco where I bought it. They dropped $190 in my pocket, you know. Okay, so what did it come to?
177.
177. I
said 174.40. 173.40.
Yeah, my original estimate was about 173.50. I think.
So I should have stuck with my 180.
I think John won.
180.
Yeah.
I got it. So I get the Costco hot dog, right?
No, you get to pick up the bill.
Anyway, so then I went to go get. I went to go get another monitor, and they had it right there, but they didn't have any boxes. They were all out of them. So I had to order from Costco online to get that price.
What do you mean? They took the box out? They didn't have the box for the monitor?
No. And the monitor they had, they would have sold me, but it was broken.
Oh.
Yeah. So then
Alex,
so's yours.
Yeah.
Alex, did that show save a podcast
of the show?
Because I missed.
I'll send it to you. I haven't.
Well, you don't have to. You know, you can go to. Walter M.
I'll just send it to him.
Just go online to Walter M. Sterling, and on his site are all podcasts of his shows, without the commercial breaks. And you can just go to my Facebook page. I have it posted there. You just click on it, and it'll take you there.
All right.
Why am I telling you have to do all that? Just go to my Facebook page and you'll see.
Yeah, I'll download it because I listen to podcasts at work. You know,
I don't think you can download this.
There's ways to do it. If it's online, you can. You know,
just stream it.
Well, I simply ran my Adobe Audio here and just recorded it as it played. So,
yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. So how did you do it, Phil?
I went to the website, your friend's, the Sterling website.
Yeah.
And I copied it, pasted it, and I sent it to you on your messenger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think.
And I just sent it to John.
Hello to hello to.
Or you could just take an audio out from your computer and put it in a Zoom or something like this, and just
Zoom.
Make your
Who
own,
has a Zoom anymore?
Yeah, I got a Zoom H6.
This is a good unit.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello Patrick. How are you?
I am super fabulous.
Good for you. Oh, look, it's the trip to the car in the parking lot.
That's the diesel going back.
Now, here's the thing I wondered. I was thinking this today. I did a show on Sunday night, 3 hours, went out to, I think, 53 stations in the United States and Guam. Okay, it was on at 3 in the afternoon in Guam. And live everywhere, wherever it was. And when it came to getting calls, I got calls from Patrick, and I got calls from Ray, and I got who else did I get calls from?
I called you.
Yeah, I know Ray called me.
Renee
called me.
You?
Renee called. And then I had a bunch of other people who called as well, who were just listeners.
Yeah.
But absent my callers, there wouldn't have been a lot of callers. And I was just thinking to myself, I sit here and I go, oh, I only got a couple of hundred people listening to me right now. Boy, this is not worth doing. I'm wondering realistically, out of all those stations, how many people were actually listening to that show?
The one guy that said, when you said you were a lefty, he thought you were talking about left-handed people.
Oh, I see.
And he says, and most of the people that called didn't have a real telephone. You know, they still use payphones. What's Facebook? What's Twitter? I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a TV.
No, but I wonder realistically, and I've always wondered this, realistically, how many people are listening? Just because it's going out nationally doesn't mean I have more listeners listening to me on Sunday night than listen to me right now with this podcast over a given day.
Hey, Alex, I think that, like, on KGO even now, I noticed that the hosts sometimes are really stalling because I think they don't have any callers.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, I think I think you're right about that. I have sat there. I asked Albert about this once because he worked with Rush Limbaugh. I said, Rush Limbaugh, the most popular guy on talk radio, right? I said, well, how many calls did he get on his show? He said some days he was sitting there and there wasn't a line ringing.
There you go.
You know? So, I mean, but all I'm thinking about is, like, how many people realistically were listening to me? I mean, I'd like to think there were thousands upon thousands, but it could have been in the hundreds.
You give away something, or you have some sort of contest, then you get people calling.
No, but then,
the 25th caller will get the T-shirt.
No, but you're getting an artificial count that way, because what's happening is people are dialing, double dialing, doing all of that. And plus, I hate contests.
Yeah.
Well, we got a stream going on September 8th. I'm going to be working on radio with KPFA. Live streaming the climate march down Market Street.
Well, I know we have more listeners than KPFA, but anyway.
But see, the video component of it does record hits and viewers and things like that. So we might actually get a read, on how many people are watching it. I've done KPFA things where I've had 800 people watching the stream. We covered Shell No campaign where we shut down the Polar Pioneer on the docks in Seattle about 3 years ago and got 800 viewers, on the KPFA video stream. So,
well, that's very good. Thank you. It wasn't really what I was talking about, but you got your plug in.
No, I got my plug, but I mean the point is if you combine video with audio, then sometimes you get a read on.
Also, I think I mentioned Gabnet quite often on the show, so I expected that maybe I would see a tick upward in viewership or listenership. Nothing. So I'm suspecting nobody listens.
Well, maybe they listen to it on the recorded podcast. Just because it's it's a 10 o'clock your time kind of thing. There is a recorded element of it, and I guess there are people that listen to the show.
Do you really think that people who listen to talk radio, which is an old Altacaca group, really know how to get a podcast? They think a podcast is something that happens when you throw a tide pod.
Most of those people were still using rabbit ears. They're called.
Yeah. But I just wonder realistically, how many people, and I think I wondered this when I was doing stuff over at WOR, and I was doing Lionel's show, and it went out on the network. And I wondered, really realistically, how many people are listening. We never knew it at Sirius XM. I could have had tens of thousands of people, or I could have had 5. I didn't know. There was no way.
Well, I'm going to listen to your show on podcast because I can't always be there on a scheduled time. A lot of people are like, the internet has changed that.
I just sent it to you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to listen to the show.
Yeah, but that's the way you listen to it. What I'm saying is this thing goes out to nothing but a bunch of right-wing radio stations across the United States with nothing with an audience that is hitting dying off slowly but surely because they're so old.
Or 72, I've been told, is the average age of the listener in this program.
What'd you say?
71 or 72 years of age, I've heard through multiple sources, is the average age of your typical talk radio listener. Also, your typical Fox News viewer.
I don't know about that. You may be right. I don't think it's that high, though. I think it's somewhere in the 50s. Okay.
Or perhaps the low 60s, but nevertheless.
Yeah. But, and these people don't say, hey, if I don't catch this show now, there'll be a podcast tomorrow. Like, I had this one woman, Linda, who called. And she used to call me all the time when I did Lionel. She used to call me. And she doesn't own a television set.
Oh, I can't say I blame her.
Well, I know there's an aesthetic joy in that, but the fact is that's how much she is not wired in. Okay.
Yeah. Or a cynical component.
Yeah.
Other than aesthetic joy or a cynical component.
Yeah. Yes, Patrick.
That things are.
Would she be on par with Bubbles then?
No, but Bubbles is even worse.
Bubbles has a phone.
He also has a TV set too, but I bet it's got a tube in it. I'll bet you. I haven't asked him, but I bet you it's got a tube in it.
Well, Alex, the reason I was flashing this is because I think you ought to advertise on AARP. I mean, it's an amazing resource. A lot of people
why would I advertise? And secondly, how can I afford to advertise if it doesn't get me anything? If it doesn't get me anything, it's going to bring me money back in. Then why advertise?
You could get a some kind of benefit from ARP, wouldn't they?
ARP, I'm sure, has a senior discount for advertising.
Hey, yeah. I have been resisting joining AARP. I don't want to admit that I'm over, 50 or something? That they
55, I think.
Yeah, they start asking you to join.
I had a card when I was 45. My business manager made me get it. He said there are a lot of good deals you can get with it.
Yes.
Yes.
Are there?
Yeah.
What kind of good deals?
Just offers and things like that. To begin with, pretty soon, you're going to be getting Medicare. And there's 20% that Medicare doesn't take care of, and you have to have supplemental, and ARP has ARP supplemental.
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
This got to do with the Mac Mini. You bought it with a credit card, and if you use the credit card and the thing blew up, you can the credit card company has insurance for that. You can call your Visa, MasterCard, whatever it was, and they have coverage. I once bought my girlfriend a bracelet and she lost it, and American Express covered it.
Well, the question
and I know that
is,
Visa and MasterCard have the same thing.
I bought this thing from you for $300, but the retail cost of it is about $13.50, right?
Right. But at least you can get your $300 back.
Do I claim the $300 or do I claim $13.50? I guess
I
think you have to claim.
I don't know if they cover a personal purchase to and from two people, though.
No. But my thing is it's a business.
Really?
So try it. Just call the credit card company and tell them.
You bought the Mini from the carpet place?
Yeah.
No, I used my Square for my photo. Somebody.
Okay.
If I do a photo shoot or something that I actually get paid for.
I mean, I could check with them and say, hey, I bought this using a credit card from a person who sold it to me, who has a business. And, I think I used the Visa, didn't I?
Right. So call Visa and see if it's covered.
Worth a try.
Yeah, well, I mean, American Express covers a lot.
Yeah, but he used the Visa, and Visa has that insurance.
First, I got.
And it doesn't go against the merchant, and it's just an insurance. It's you're talking about the benefits of AARP, and it triggered that your credit card has a benefit.
Maybe first I got to find out what's wrong with it. If it's something that's fixable, like a power supply, it's only like about $150 to replace.
Yeah.
But if it's not, I have another place in town that fixes these things and says they don't replace the logic board, they fix it.
Really?
Yeah. And they say, don't go anywhere else. They'll try and sell you a logic board, and that includes Apple. Come to us, we'll dig into it and we'll fix it. But it may not be the logic board. It could be a fuse or something blew when the thing blew, and the fan still works and the light still goes on the front, but nothing else works. And it could be the power supply, and it could be those things are just hardwired.
A power supply went on my Hewlett Packard old scanner downstairs. I actually bought and used when I was checking on eBay, and I was able to swap it out and get it to work. But that lightning storm got me a couple of weeks ago, I think, when it went, because it was working fine, and it just wouldn't work. I actually I bought one used and I used it for.
Wait a minute. Did you have your super check the socket in case you ever plug something back in to that socket?
Well, I tested it. It was fine.
No, I'm talking Alex. Alex's socket.
That socket has a surge protector on it.
Yeah, but the surge protector, you had both the mini and the screen, the monitor, plugged into the surge protector. You put the surge protector into the socket.
No, I simply unplugged the mini and plugged it into that. And then when the mini went, the mini was attached to the monitor via its HDMI cable.
I see.
Okay, and that probably caused a chain reaction that blew both of them.
Oh.
And the monitor had the same situation. The monitor light is on, okay, but it doesn't turn on. So something, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I screwed up, basically. It was all working.
How could you screw up by just plugging it into a strip?
I may have actually unplugged it and unplugged the strip and put it in the socket directly. I don't know, but in any event, it was working, and then I pulled it out and put it in the socket because I was trying. What happened was one of my monitors wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why, and I was trying everything, and finally I was pulling this stuff in and out, and it turns out that my cleaning woman had accidentally knocked the plug out of another strip. Okay, but that was too late. I'd already tried replugging this stuff in elsewhere, and at one point, a giant spark came out of the back of the Mac Mini.
Ooh! Ow!
So,
yeah.
But I'm thinking.
Is that the one that you bought from Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
thinking.
bet she gave you a defector.
No, God punishes. You yelled at me
joking.
the other night, and God punishes.
I see.
What did he yell at you for? It's probably
Trump.
Something about Trump, right?
I interrupted
Oh,
him.
did you hear what she said, Alex? The prostitute?
Don't change
Remember
the
the set?
subject.
He only lasted 2 minutes, she told me. We came back from the hospital. She said that, remember what I said, that the prostitute said that Trump is terribly bad.
Who was a prostitute?
Who's that lady?
Stormy
She's
Daniels.
not
She's not a
she's not a
Oh,
prostitute.
Same thing. She gets paid for sex
Take it back.
No,
It's different.
She gets paid for being
on
filmed.
TV.
She gets paid for being filmed. She doesn't get paid for sex.
She's getting it confused. Then.
And is she having? It's the same thing.
She gets paid to be
there's like
photographed
that-
having sex. Yes,
did it
but
with
she
Trump,
doesn't
though.
get paid for having sex.
Well, if she didn't have sex, she wouldn't get paid.
She's a prostitute, Mama. She don't know what she's talking about. I'm gonna tell her.
Whether it's on film or not.
No,
you
I
know,
will. I will
the
defend.
sex
I will
part-
defend a porn actress as not being a prostitute.
Yeah. Okay.
To begin with, a porn actress does have her choice of who she has sex with.
Yeah, the person who pays.
A prostitute takes on all comers, so to speak.
Well, that's the money shot.
Well, she's not forced to.
What?
The prostitute is not forced to take on all comers.
Well, yeah, but if you're running a business like that, you better.
It sounds like we're splitting cunt hairs here.
Well, I don't know.
Um,
I can't remember Dennis Hoff at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch ever saying that any of his women turned down guys. So unless they had been with him before and they had been aggressive or a problem, and then he wouldn't even let them in the door.
know,
But anyway,
he has more credibility to me than Trump does, and I'm not surprised. I'm assuming that's Tony that's talking.
He's a Republican and he supports Trump.
Where's Scott Boddicker? Where is he? What happened to Scott?
He walked away from his chair.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted.
And Renati's off. Renati went off.
Yeah, he's driving now.
But
come on, hey, not be like me. You can talk and drive.
Yeah, but
anyway. Out your feet so that some big fucker doesn't pull you over.
So anyway, I think I think I did a good job the other night. I was very happy with it when I left.
Asshole.
So
yeah,
yes, Jeff.
I thought it was very good, and you know what? It was a little different than the way you communicate today in this show.
Well, it's a slightly different kind of communication.
I know, but it was also different than, let's say, your previous stuff for 5 years ago. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why it would be necessarily, except that I have aged in 5 years.
No, I don't think it was so much the age. It was the demeanor.
Okay.
Not your voice.
Well, it wasn't his show. It was somebody else's, and he was filling in. That could be the reason.
If it was my show, I probably would have been a little more... well, to begin with, if it was my own show, I would have been doing it for a lot of time by the time you heard it. And I would be doing it my way. You know, in guest hosting for somebody, you're really going into somebody else's home, and you don't want to rearrange the furniture too much. You know, you want to do enough to make yourself comfortable, but you don't want to really, screw up his show and his audience. Did you hear it at all, Scott? Did you get a chance to hear it at all? Wait a minute, your mic isn't on.
Yeah, I heard it. I actually the only thing I didn't like is I didn't like the commercials, because I was watching TV during the commercials, and I fell asleep when the TV was on, and I don't know. So I heard some of it.
Did you feel a desire to buy scented candles?
I want the San Francisco one, the poop scent.
Is there a poop scent?
Well, they had one for San Francisco, and I figured the scent of poop is the thing that makes you feel at home in San Francisco.
Yeah,
well, that would have been for New Jersey, though.
That's how Walter makes some money out of that show, and that's off those live reads that he does. That's his read. So anyway,
I think Pennsylvanians would be cow shit.
I got a couple items here you might be interested in. Woody Allen is going to reportedly do what he hasn't done since 1981.
Take a hit.
And go at least one calendar year without making a movie. The New York Post, page 6, reports the four-time Oscar winner's 48th feature film. Wow. A Rainy Day in New York, wrapped in November, and is set to be released by Amazon later this year. After that, Allen apparently has nothing on the horizon until an untitled project due in 2020. Whether the upcoming break is Allen's idea isn't entirely clear. The report cites sources saying that Allen has not secured financing for the 2020 project. However, the report notes that Amazon has a deal with Allen that leaves Amazon on the hook for 3 more films. The Post also notes that earlier this year, The Hollywood Reporter said that Amazon may decide to break the deal even if it does mean a hefty payout. That's because of the stuff about, it says Woody loves working, never takes a vacation, but he'll be taking a year off until he can find a backer. The Post adds the Me Too movement, ironically spearheaded by his son Ronan Farrow, has hurt the auteur, who was accused by his adopted daughter Dylan Farrow of sexually abusing her 26 years ago. Allen has never formally been charged with the crime, although a judge in Allen's child custody case against Mia Farrow called Allen's behavior toward Dylan grossly inappropriate. So the Me Too stuff may have made it difficult for him to get financing, which I think would be terrible, because I always look forward to his work. Even to this day, not all his films are great, But he makes one a year, and once every 2 years or so, or 3 years, he's got a film that's really terrific, and I look forward to those. Yes, Brian.
If I haven't made this clear before, I'll make it clear now. I too am getting tired of this Me Too bullshit. Here's as far as ending careers prematurely, and I'm including Kevin Spacey in this. Unless you're due to be put behind bars, unless you're doing the perp walk and set to be doing time, don't fucking disrupt the apple cart. I mean, take for example House of Cards. How many people are could potentially lose their jobs, and all the crew could go through a
they are because they're stopping
something he wasn't in prison for.
They're stopping the show after this season, which he's not in. But think of what happened with Roseanne's show. Think of how many people were out of work because of that. Although they're going to be working again, and John Goodman has announced that they will be coming back. And they're killing off Roseanne, which I think they're going to use what we were talking about. The last episode of Roseanne, she was going to the hospital for an operation for her knee. I think she's going to die on the operating table.
Oh my God!
John Goodman. Two things. One is that John Goodman actually made a positive statement about Roseanne, saying she wasn't a racist, and. What was the other thing? Oh, Louis C.K. did a stand-up set.
I was gonna get to that later. So.
All right. Sorry.
Well, we can get to it now. He did a stand-up at the comedy place where he showcases in the TV show that he was doing, the Comedy Cellar. And,
Goodman?
Huh?
No,
Louis
C.K.
Louis C.K.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He appeared around 11 a.m., said Noam Dwarman, owner of the Cellar, the Greenwich Village Club, with a long tradition of surprise appearances by famous comedians. But also the Comedy Cellar is the comedy club that he goes down into at the beginning of every show of Louis, and that's where he does all his stand-up on the show. Dressed in a black V-neck T-shirt and gray pants, he did 15 minutes. A set that touched on what Mr. Dwarman called typical Louis C.K. stuff: racism, waitresses, tips, and parades. The report quotes Dwarman as saying, "It sounded like he was trying to work out some new material, almost like any time in the last 10 years that he would come in at the beginning of a new act." What I read about though was this owner supposedly didn't know that he was going on down there, but apparently he was there, according to this story. He didn't mention or address the sexual allegations, and previously the comedian said the allegations first reported in the New York Times were true. The Times adds Mr. Dwarman said C.K. was very relaxed, and the audience sold-out crowd of about 115 greeted him warmly with an ovation even before he began. Mr. Dwarman was at home asleep, but the club staff texted him about the appearance and later watched a tape of it, he said. Now, that is what happened with Louis C.K. The aftermath online is why I hate Twitter and why I hate Facebook and why I hate the human race. Because immediately they're going, why should he be allowed to go back on stage?
Fuck him.
Fuck you. Now, here's the one really doing the complaining. Who do you think was a big complainer on this? Anybody have an idea?
Oh, let's see. Is it a person?
Catholic priest.
No, not Catholic priests. But it sounds like Catholic priests.
Oh, sounds
Nadia Argento or whatever her name is.
No. Kathy Griffin.
Wow.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
The Headless Horseman.
Oh.
I was going to say some cunt liquor, but I guess that about knows the mark.
No, but I have known Kathy Griffin in the past, and she is a cunt. He says, do you know how many talented women in POC comics are knocking on doors trying to get time in front of audiences or powerful people in this business, and Louis just gets to glide back in on his own terms? Gosh, does it pay off to be in the boys' club, the white boys' club?
Oh, she fed her to the white.
Start your own thing.
What's the white thing? Like, it's a big privilege.
Brian said bullshit. Explain yourself, Brian.
How long has he been hiding? I mean, how long has he been gone? And she's been out there crying for how long?
I didn't say bullshit, by the way. I said then meaning Kathy. Start your own thing, get your own followers, and I didn't say bullshit as far as.
Hey, didn't she rip off underage children working on her garment clothes in El Salvador or Honduras or something?
No, that wasn't her.
Oh.
I don't think she has any clothing lines.
No, you're thinking about Kathy.
Kathy Lee Gifford.
Kathy Lee Gifford. Little difference there. John. But her complaints. I mean, she went through a bad thing when she did that Trump head thing. The bloody Trump head. And
She
That was her
wasn't hiding
fault.
off
She
in the
put on
background.
clothes.
She was making noise the whole time she was coming back. Louis C.K., we haven't heard from him until now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But something I got to tell you about her with the head? The thing that disappointed me about her is I would have been on her side, but she
Apologized.
She came out and
did
whimpered into the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt that made me lose any respect I might have had for her, but I never had respect for her in the first place. Yes, somebody was saying something. Yes, Brian.
Real quick. My take on, I think I said this before, when this just happened, I was participating in this program when the Kathy Griffin shit happened. But anyway, I'll say it again. What I would have done with my personality and her body, I would have said to Trump and to all the media outlets, not only am I not sorry for what I did, I demand an apology for Trump and you people for having wasted my valuable time hounding me in the first place.
Well,
say sorry to me, not the other way around.
Do you know that the Secret Service even paid a visit to her and were
don't
watching her, thinking she was dangerous?
They cuff her?
No.
What do you want?
No.
Here's a Secret Service agent shows up on my doorstep. I say, what? You want me to suck your dick? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, I mean, the point is...
And you just might.
Go out and take some real shit.
But hanging on the porch.
So she went through a terrible thing in which, I said it at the time that I did not like Kathy Griffin, but I will defend what she did. She has the right to ply her art in any way she wants to ply it. Maybe you consider it in bad taste, but that's, then don't listen to her. Right?
No more so than the piss Christ.
It's like the Alex Jones thing.
I defended her. And now I wouldn't defend her at all because of what she just said about Louis C.K. What? It has nothing to do with him being part of a boys' club. This, to begin with, that particular club owes him every favor they can give him because every week on the beginning of the Louis show for 4 seasons, you saw the Comedy Cellar. Yes, Patrick.
I think it has everything to do with talent.
Yeah.
But Kathy Lee has none.
Kathy Griffin, not Kathy Lee. Kathy Lee.
She has. I don't remember finding anything she's ever done funny. So I mean, and I can't be the only one.
Right.
Talent is talent, and if you don't have it, you don't have it. And unfortunately for her, Louis could walk into that place. Or glide in, as she said, and have a warm reception.
Right.
Every time.
Right.
And she'd like talented.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what she calling the boys' club that supposedly supported Louis C.K. was not supporting him. They all abandoned him.
Yeah.
And he just walks in and then they all of a sudden supported him.
It sounds like somebody unzipped their fly.
That was 10. You got 10.
Yeah.
That's my jacket.
We have a full house. Full house. Full house. I should have a sign that blinks. Full house. Full house. Yeah.
Hey, Brian, you've had your hand up so much. Madam Zelda from Poughkeepsie's going to call you and give you a palm reading.
Here's what you can read from this.
John has offered to take me to a Greenpeace function. I asked him if I should bring my cuffs, but then I figured out, you know what? They're probably going to get me arrested. There'll be some protest.
Now, let me give you one more story. This one, maybe you didn't hear about, because these are all the same story, really, between the thing with with Louis C.K. and the thing with Woody Allen. And now, Matt Lauer, who got the boot from NBC's Today Show in November over sexual harassment allegations. All this is allegations. That's what bothers me.
But he was hanging out with his ex-wife, or his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Well, that
just last week.
That has nothing to do with the story.
Okay.
You know, the fact is that Matt Lauer, it's allegations. The report says Lauer was overheard in his old haunt, Donahue's Steakhouse, telling fans he will be returning. The report quotes a sources saying a group of older ladies came over to Lauer saying, "We miss you." And according to one source, Lauer told the fans, "I've been busy being a dad, but don't worry, I'll be back on TV." Really? Now, I don't know if that's just his own wish or whether he's got something he's considering. You know,
take him back. Who knows?
What? Who?
Said Fox might take him back.
No, I don't think Fox would take him. Fox has had enough of their problems with sexual allegations. I don't think they want, you know, someone who's in the midst of that. They don't want that.
I wonder if they'd throw him onto MSNBC with Brian.
You know where I would put him? The dating game. Fucking let him be the host.
Yeah.
Brian Williams.
They may
stick
be
him in the middle of the night or something.
Hey, all these people belong on the Gong Show. They should revive the Gong Show.
They have revived the Gong Show.
Is that Chuck Barris?
No,
Yeah.
He was supposed to be like an agent.
No, they're doing the Gong Show.
Yeah.
It's on right now.
Good.
ABC.
Yeah. You know, so they redid it with what's his name?
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers.
Oh, that's right. He gets dressed up in that. You don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, who was the unknown comic in the Gong Show?
That was
the guy with the bag.
Oh, what was his name again? Oh God, I know the name.
Milo something. Like
No. Oh, the unknown comic. God. Hold on a second. I can look it up immediately. Unknown comic. Unknown. And it's on the tip of my brain. That's why I'm so bothered by it. Unknown comic. Wikipedia. His name was Murray Langston.
Ah, yeah. Murray Langston.
And who was the girl that was in the pipe?
The girl who was in the pipe?
Yeah, the one that you remembered from 60 years ago.
What?
You said it on your show on Sunday. You said you could remember the name of the
in the drain.
In the drain
girl
pipe
who got
drain
stuck in a drain pipe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathy Fiscus.
Right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So see, you remembered that.
Yeah. And
right.
if you give me time, I probably would. Yeah, under certain conditions, I would have just come out with Murray Langston. But when I'm suddenly pressured to come out with it, you know, it becomes more difficult. But
so if I said something like, "What's the answer? What's the answer?"
Yeah,
then you can't.
It's like my neurologist asking me who the governor of New York is.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm.
I know who it is.
And then he says,
Murray Langston.
Is Murray Langston. And then he asked me who the mayor of New York is. Right after that, well, tell me who the mayor of New York is. And because I just frozen up from that.
Cocksucker.
No, he's not the mayor.
I froze up from that. You know, but we all know it was Kathy Fiscus. So, you know, yes, Brian.
My witty response to that question would have been to the neurologist, if I were in your shoes, would have been, yeah, I know who the governor of New York is. It's a corporatist cocksucker. That's who the governor of New York is.
By the way, somebody wrote me and told me what they hate about you, Brian, is all your use of curse words, because they say you're so intelligent and you have such great ideas, but you belie them with using...
No. There's been a scientific study that said that intelligent people use curse words abundantly.
I don't think so.
No. Look, Google it.
I read that, but I think it's a bunch of fucking goddamn bullshit.
It was written by some morons.
I support you, Brian. I think
whoever that is, tell them from me. Yeah. My notion of that is that sometimes golly gee willikers just doesn't fucking cut it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Especially
well, I thought I would just thought
at least you don't have Tourette's,
because they said your heart's in the right place. It's just you lose everybody with your language. And I went, well,
what is the age group, Alex? What is the age group of these Brian critics?
I said I admit the guy has a massive case of Tourette's, but I said
I'm not a politician either. That's my other response.
For instance, if I had you on the national radio show that I did the other day, I would have to bleep you and get rid of you. Okay,
that's right.
But in this,
I would know not to use that language.
In this forum, okay. Yeah. I said, I'm not going to censor somebody. I'm not going to tell somebody what they can say and what they can't say, or how they can express themselves or not express themselves. In fact, I've always been a firm believer that if you tell people certain people they can't use that language, you're limiting their ability to communicate. There are some people who just don't know how to communicate without that. Take a lot of people in my neighborhood in Harlem. I mean, they throw around those words like crazy to express themselves. and I would hate, and I used to use as an example that I would hate to bring somebody in from, say, a rap group and tell them they can't use 4-letter words. That's how they express themselves. And
Brian, you should enter the annual San Francisco Foul Language Contest in South of Market. No, I'm not kidding. They really have this thing. The winner of the greatest string of profanities wins some kind of prize.
I photographed a rapper, Modest Yahoo, and he didn't use one curse word.
He's a Jew. He's not a rapper. He's a Jew.
That's why he's modest.
Come on.
He's a Jewish rapper. Modest Yahoo.
Hey, Brian, is that a can of Glade air freshener underneath your lamp?
What is that?
Yeah, look at that. He's got a can of Glade air freshener.
It's mouthwash.
Anti-static equipment cleaner. Cleaning computer screens and whatnot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But anyway, Matt Lauer thinks he might be back, but I think that's wishful thinking.
He's got the set right after Louis C.K.
Yeah. So anyway, let me see. I have another couple items here. Edison Research finds. Oh, wait a minute. This is the one. This will drive Phil crazy. Okay. Because we got to drive Phil crazy. God,
go easy on Phil.
We haven't bashed.
You don't want that guilt.
We haven't bashed.
If something happens,
we haven't bashed Trump tonight. I think it's because
even one of the callers on your friend Walter's show said that you're too tough on me.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a Gabnet caller.
As far as sometimes throwing my support behind Trump is concerned, is the argument Phil has used in the past, which I agree with. Even a stopped clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, but I haven't found him right at all. That's the problem,
Not recently, I haven't. I can give you that.
But anyway, I
didn't care for this half-mast stuff and the ignoring the McCain questions during
that was embarrassing.
When he bashes all the trade agreements, when he's bashed the trade agreements we've had with like other Western European democracies, I wasn't totally in opposition to what he was saying. I've said it before. What do we need abroad that we can't make here in the States?
Well, what I was saying just before that was that Trump refused to acknowledge McCain's death and didn't want to lower the flag on the White House to half-mast. And I thought McCain deserved that recognition. And
that's
Trump,
a good riddance to McCain.
Yeah, well,
he's done everything he can to make working families' lives more miserable than they have to be. He's been He's been a part of the problem for over 30 fucking years.
You know,
I mean, voting for Obamacare.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on
options. Absolutely, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, but I disagree with you on that, Brian. Only that, nobody's perfect, and especially in politics, people are going to have, thoughts and ideas that you're not going to agree with. In the case of John McCain, he's a guy who I politically probably disagreed with 80% of the time, okay? But he was a principled politician, He wasn't like the rest of
with evil principles.
Yeah.
I'd piss on his grave, Brendan. I mean, Brian.
Well,
But
I feel the guy, when he was in the Hanoi Hilton and they beat him for 5.5 years and they offered to let him go before some of the other guys and he refused, that showed me he was a hero. That he wouldn't take his take the advantage of his birth.
To begin
right,
with, I kind of felt that that situation at the Hanoi Hilton would use too much to define him. There was more to the man than just that 5 years of getting beaten up. And quite frankly, when I was at Sirius, when they brought up McCain, I said something similar to what Trump said, in that I said that, well, let's face it, he got caught. I said, I thought the idea was not to get caught.
I understand, but what he did in captivity was heroic. In that he could have taken advantage of the fact that his father was an admiral and they were going to let him go, and he wouldn't do it unless they let the other ones.
We don't know how much of that is truth and how much of that is legend, but I'd like to believe it's true. Because but on the other hand, they completely glossed over and did not mention his complicity in the Charles Keating situation with the Lincoln Savings and Loan, in which he got admonished by the Senate and what's the word they use?
I did hear people talking about
Charles was a real crook.
Oh, real crook.
The Keaton
but he was dealing with him.
Yeah,
so
it was the gold faucets and.
So I mean, there was a lot of bad stuff about McCain, but the good in the end of his life, especially, outweighed the bad. And in this day and age, we don't have very many people with core principles. He did have some core principles. Whether I agreed with his politics or not is something else altogether.
The guy hung out with fucking Nazis in Ukraine. He hung out with Azov Brigade, sector, right-wing thugs.
I don't know.
Flew the Nazi flag. So fuck him.
I don't know about that, so I can't
it's in pictures. He hung out with these guys.
I will look it up. But
Okay.
all I'm saying is that the guy was perceived, at least by the greater amount of the American public, as a hero, and to do what he did in the last couple of days and sit there petulantly and refusing to answer whether he considered him a hero or what did he have to say about John McCain, it was embarrassing, wasn't it, Phil?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
I didn't feel it was fair. Now I didn't particularly like John McCain either, but I felt that he's a senator, and they lower the flag at half staff for people like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Brian.
I was just going to say that verbal trap, that debating trap you tried to lay for me, Phil, that I wouldn't take, because I agree that Obamacare was a complete clusterfuck. And I'll agree right along with you, but maybe for a different reason. The reason being is that they fucked with the public option and but
here's what happened. Brian
Emanuel fucked us over out of the public option.
Yeah, Brian, he would have passed something far more solid, but he got got past what he could get past, because they weren't going to go for single payer. That was for damn sure, and I never felt that Obamacare was an answer, but it was better than nothing. Although the problem is that when you go for something that's better than nothing, and then it maybe fails on certain levels, everybody will then say, "See, single payer doesn't work." Well, that wasn't single payer.
No, it wasn't.
And that was the problem with Obamacare.
Anybody see the Orr? What's his name? Bruce Orr interviews today, and the reaction by the senators that interviewed him. It seems as though he can't remember anything, and maybe they're going to be locking Hillary up soon.
Well, I doubt if they're going to be locking Hillary up anytime soon. I think our boy Trump will probably get locked up faster than she will.
Dude, that would be fun to do. Why would we focus on Hillary? She doesn't have any power anymore.
Because all his friends,
wrongdoing,
all his friends are turning tail, and it looks now, in fact, like what's his name, who he was saying wonderful things about a few days ago, is making a deal with Mueller. Manafort is making a deal with.
On the second trial.
Yeah,
it's the guy who kept the books. He had a Jewish last name, and he kept all the books for
Weinstein or something.
Wassenberg, I think is his name.
Yeah, Weinsberger or something like that. But they gave him limited immunity. So it's just for a specific area. It's not full immunity.
He knows every check that was signed in the last 30 years for that company.
Yeah, but I don't know if they are supposed to be investigating that or Russian collusion.
Well, certainly he would have some knowledge of what went on in that.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I were Trump, I'd be sweating bullets right about now.
What if he has nothing to sweat bullets about because he didn't do anything wrong?
Well, the fact is that I have no doubt he did something. I have no doubt that he did something wrong. How many people here, by a show of hands, feel he probably did something wrong? You're it, Phil.
No,
why be so naive, Phil?
John Peru.
I mean, even if you like
because he hasn't been convicted of anything.
Did you raise your hand, Patrick?
Well, neither is Hillary.
No, Hillary is a crook.
Wait a minute.
What are your feelings on
Perulis didn't raise his hand.
No, because I don't know enough about his wrongdoing. I mean, it has to come up in a court of law.
You knew enough about McCain's. Why don't you know about his?
He knows about McCain. John knew about McCain.
I'm saying you knew about McCain, but you don't know about Trump's wrongdoing and what you've seen.
Well, Trump is just an asshole from day one.
McCain
I mean,
convicted.
He's got
McCain
a history
was convicted.
Of wrongdoing.
And sanctioned. Trump is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, you bring down Trump, fine, but then what do you get? Pence? Pence is a fucking idiot too. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I would call him an idiot. I wouldn't call Pence an idiot. He's
a smart, evil dude. Okay.
Exactly.
Patrick.
Yeah.
He's younger than Cheney.
Patrick.
That's what I want to know. Everybody that is getting ready to come in their pants over a imminent,
resignation.
We're going to impeach Trump.
You're not speaking on behalf of me, though, Patrick.
If they realize that Hillary will not be president, it's going to be Pence. Are they aware of that? Is everybody aware that if he gets impeached and he's out, it's Pence? They're not going to put Hillary in, and they're not going to put Bernie in. It's going to be Pence.
Yeah. That's why I'm not in favor of impeachment.
Off on this, and they're not thinking far enough ahead that they're going to get an actual hardcore conservative as their president versus letting this guy serve out the next 2 years, and he'll probably not run again.
Hey, you know what? If Pence became president, you think those guys would like it if Cheney was his choice for vice president? Imagine a Pence-Cheney ticket.
Probably Pence, Nikki Haley.
Well, this one last item here. Cable news channel MSNBC just racked up the biggest achievement in the ratings. Not only is it beating its rivals in cable news, but topping all of cable as the most watched network in weekday prime time for the week of August 20th. The channel announced that it topped #2 Fox News and #4 CNN in total viewers for the week in weekday prime, Monday through Friday, 8 to 11 p.m. That was was #4 across all cable in the key news demos and adults 25 to 54, beating #5 Fox and #6 CNN. Rachel Maddow was #1 across all cable in total viewers and was the #1 cable news show in both total viewers and adults 25-54. So it looks like the day of Fox being the dominant news network is at an end, but it's been replaced by MSNBC, which is a one-note network. It just keeps telling the same story over and over and over again to a point where it's driving me nuts. What do you think about that, Phil?
If you repeat something often enough, it becomes truth.
Well, that's
You know?
Fox certainly realized that.
No, it's MSNBC. That's why they're
you don't-
using a proven method to.
You don't
but you see,
No.
let me say this about MSNBC and all of these things, whether it be Fox or anything else. These are businesses, and these businesses are there to make money, and they want to and they want to get their advertisers to sell. They're selling their products. They're gonna say what it is that's necessary to get the viewers that are going to buy the advertisers' products. These people are not news networks; they are entertainment. And the sooner we all realize that, the sooner we'll realize that it is fake news. They show.
No, it's not fake news, Phil. It is certainly
it's warped news.
It's skewed news.
Right, they show you stories, and they're selectively showing stories to make their point and to keep their viewers buying the products that their advertisers are selling.
Now, listen, by the way, we have gone full circle on this show. We started off the show with Ray in Costco, and now we have him in his kitchen putting his stuff away that he bought at Costco, right?
No, well, I did that, and I'm also eating dinner.
Was it anything you bought at Costco?
No.
Do you know what the number one?
Do
you know what the number one selling item is at Costco?
Toilet paper.
No, that's number 2.
Water.
Paper towels.
Ooh, good joke.
Yeah, no, but it is number 2. Chicken.
Depends.
The chicken.
Chicken.
The chicken.
Yeah, from China.
No,
chicken parts processed in
no,
China, shipped
no,
back here.
These are local chickens. These are
The fresh chickens.
The fresh chickens. The rotisserie
Happy
chicken is the best-selling item in Costco. $5, whole chicken, bargain of the day, right?
Oh, the roto chicken.
And what they do is they only keep it on they only keep it out for like less than an hour. They all have times on them, and when the time is up, they send it to the other room and they make it into chicken salad or other chicken-based products. Yes, Patrick.
Okay, so in 2013, John McCain went to the Ukraine and he met with a man accused of being an anti-Semitic neo-Nazi. He had some sort of meeting with him, and that was it. It was a one-time deal. And that's from Business Insider. So I would say, who fucking cares? I mean, whatever.
It could have been just
John McCain's wife is an oligarch.
It could have been just a fact. It could have basically been a fact-finding mission.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But there was no more to it than that.
I wouldn't hold that against him any more than if he met with a Castro or somebody else who was supposedly an enemy of our country. That's the way it goes. Big fucking deal.
Well, Patrick, they're sending arms to Ukraine, thanks to votes from people like McCain, and the people that are running that war are Nazis.
But don't we want to support
listen, we got to go,
Ukraine
John.
against the
but
SSR?
after all,
No.
the USSR has been trying to
or Russia.
Russia's been trying to go after the Ukraine, so we're there defending them. That's all. Anyway, hey, listen, that's it for this evening. I know you'll never agree because you're right. Ray, thank you. And thank you for the tour of Costco.
You're welcome.
Makes me hungry.
What did you get me, Ray?
Phil,
some wine and a box of Depends.
Thank you, and thanks to both of you.
And some prunes.
Thanks to both of you for calling the show on Sunday. I really appreciate it. Jeff, good having you here. You've been a little quiet tonight, but we love having you here. Brian, always great to have you. Tony, doing okay? Father doing okay?
Oh, he's doing a lot better. He's still in the hospital.
Okay.
But he's coming along.
We'll keep a good thought for you. Scott, thank you. I appreciate it. Kevin, thank you. John, always a pleasure to have you here. And, of course, the lovely and attractive Patrick Blazek. Will you all give a big wave goodbye to the audience out there? There they are. That's the Citizens Panel. I'm Alex Bennett. That's them for tonight. Coming up next, we've got the intersection with Jack Bishop, and then after that, at 1 o'clock in the morning, yes, it's Connections coming from Florida. Tomorrow night, at, oh yeah, I got this, yeah. Tomorrow night at 8:30 is the Arena with the franchise MC, followed by Damian Chaplin at 9:30, and that will be quickly followed by me. Yes, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye, everybody.